Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DeFirio with Keys to the Shop, and welcome to another edition of Shift Break. In today's episode, we are sponsored by La Marzocco and Rattleware. So first of all, La Marzocco at lamarzocousa.com. This company has been around for almost 100 years, still making espresso machines by hand in Florence, Italy. They're known for dependability, beauty, and innovation, and specifically innovation toward the real issues that their customers, the coffee retailers around the world that use their machines, have. And that's things like their KB90 espresso machine has the auto flush feature for cleaner group heads, better tasting coffee. You've got scales and the drip tray options, straight in locking portafilters, help with the ergonomics that baristas go through during a busy shift. You've got, of course, the classic Linea. I'm often recommending actually the Linea PB. It's a more technologically advanced version of the Linea. And then there's machines like the Leva and all different configurations of espresso machines that fit your style, your budget, and your use. Yeah, what you need it for in your cafe. So look them up, info at lamarzocousa.com, and their sales folks will talk to you about what the best machine for your circumstance is. Great equipment, and I would highly recommend them. So go to lamarzocousa.com. Also, we are sponsored today by Rattleware. Rattleware.com is where you can go to find some of the best smallwares out there. Smallwares that just work. Smallwares you don't have to worry about. Smallwares that uphold the big stage that you've created called a coffee shop. You know, the smallwares make a big difference because if they're not working, it's like a little thing that just kind of nags at you. It drips in the wrong way, or the handle doesn't work just right. You know, that's the stuff that you don't want to have to focus on. You want to focus on other things in the cafe. So that's what Rattleware is aiming to do with their smallwares. So if you're in the market for upgrading your shot glasses, your pitchers, your knock boxes, and all that kind of stuff, then go to rattleware.com and see what they have to offer. They love supporting coffee shops through smallwares that just work. Okay, everyone. Well, we're going to talk about the new Starbucks Cortado, basically. Maybe the news that Starbucks is trying to revamp its image. You know, what is the story? They bought 200,000 Sharpies. They're going to start writing your names the wrong way on cups again. Great. You know, they are trying to get that coffee house feel again because they have lost the faith, so to speak, or people have lost their faith in them. That's a better way of putting it. And so the new CEO, Brian Nichols, for either the reasons that are really noble and good or just to prove his worth as a CEO, is decided that he's going to reintroduce things to the coffee shops at Starbucks that will signal to the coffee shop goers that, hey, we're actually a coffee shop and not a giant vending stand. And, you know, I think this is just kind of the way things go when you don't actually want to address the reason people have lost faith in your business. The Cortado, of course, is not a Cortado. It's double the size. And the picture I took in the airport when I first saw this, because I was like, oh, they're pretending they just invented something almost. People are going to say, do you have that Starbucks Cortado? I just heard about that. We've been doing this in specialty coffee. And of course, it originated, the Cortado, in Spain. It's a 4-ounce drink. It's a traditional drink of Spain that was then taken and popularized across third wave specialty coffee places. I believe first at Blue Bottle when they used Gibraltar glasses. And ever since I can remember, this has been a staple of coffee shops. I actually enjoy the espresso to milk ratio of a Cortado, but when you talk about 8 ounces, we're talking about a to-go cappuccino. But we're talking also about Starbucks, which is this, you know, fun house mirror reflection of specialty coffee, where you take a menu of a normal coffee shop and then you put it in front, and you put it through the Starbucks filter, and it gives you back this weird, funny version, except it's not funny because it confuses people, because now we're going to have to field all of the questions that customers have about Cortados. And I say have to, half cynical, and maybe too negative, because it's actually an opportunity, the same way as caramel macchiato, the whole conversation that is in the frequently asked questions section of barista manuals all over the world. What if a customer asks for a drink that we don't have? Or what if they ask for a drink that they find at Caribou or Starbucks or, Dunkin' or something? I don't know. But customers have not ever stopped asking for things that we don't have. So this isn't actually presenting a new problem to us. It's just sort of a new flavor of an old problem, and it represents an opportunity. You can consider this an opportunity to be gracious to people, and maybe it'll introduce them to a real cortado in your cafe when they seek to replicate their Starbucks experience at an independent shop. Graciousness, I think, is the name of the game here. But the idea of what's happening at Starbucks is more than just, hey, be on your toes. Customers are going to start introducing this new question to your baristas. The thing that came to mind when this first happened was in the movie WALL-E, when all of the people in their little self-sustaining pods were told by their overlords that the new color of the day was red. And so everyone was just like, oh, red. And so they switched to red. So everyone just kind of conformed. So Starbucks basically has this big machine, and they throw a drink in there. They're like, Cortados are new. Cortados are 8 ounces. You must not question. And then everyone hits the button and says, Cortado, please. If that's good marketing or brainwashing, I just don't know what it is, but it is powerful and you can't really stop it. Okay. But here's the thing I really want to focus in on. Okay. The whole idea of why this is happening is that they want to get back to this coffee house culture. People have lost their faith in Starbucks, and this is a big, huge admission to that fact. But it's not an admission as to why people have lost their faith in Starbucks. It's not because they're missing menu items. It's not because Starbucks is slow. And wouldn't we love to believe that that's the reason why we have customers that don't come back to our shops? Oh, if it's just that we'd have a menu item that we're not serving, it would be as easy as ordering the ingredients and boom, you get your customers. Or you just got to go faster. You just got to go faster. Brian Nichols wants to have the drink out in 30 seconds. Well, if you've got a really lackluster culture and the feel is off, and the feel and the vibe and the culture of a space is a real tangible thing, you're just going to exacerbate the issue by having a faster version of the same broken system. It's stressed out baristas. It is ill-informed baristas that are not resourced and trained very well. It's the feel of the space itself and the quality of the beverage that you already have, let alone the idea that you're going to add more beverages to that broken system that's not producing quality. Now, you might say, well, there are some Starbucks, hashtag not all Starbucks, but okay, fine. But the outliers of maybe the reserve stores that reserve literally maybe all of the best training and best hiring practices to those stores, there's always fringe exceptions. But the big issue that is admitted by the top people at Starbucks here is that by and large, people have lost their faith in this brand. And their answer to this is super tone deaf. It's tone deaf because a new drink has never solved a bad culture. Lack of faith in your brand as an independent operator is the exact same scenario. You're seeing just a corporate version of what happens in a microcosm in this independent coffee shop all the time. We want to make the idea of changing or turning over a new leaf all about branding, all about new products, but it's not about technological excitement to say we've got a new machine, we've got a new product, we've got a new brand. Look at these colors. Did you see our mug? If people don't like going to your coffee shop, it's not because of those things. It's harder than that, and it's easier than that. So it's easier in that you can actually probably guess what it is. It's a people issue. It's a culture issue. It's a quality and consistency issue of what you already have. Okay. And the solution is the hard part. It requires that you change. It requires that your people change, that there's more investment into your team, less investment into the very surface of things and getting down into the root of it. A big company like Starbucks is not going to let a newcomer like Brian Nichols create that much of a shift in the behemoth that it is. I'm sure there's a limitation of how much somebody is allowed to do, because frankly it's just untested. Okay, so you have more of an opportunity because you don't have as large of a company as Starbucks to change what you're doing in a meaningful way if you're experiencing the same kind of thing that they are. Again, they're a corporate version of what's happening on an independent level. And it's not like we don't have people who sometimes feel like they don't want to come back to our coffee shop. We do. But the answer is not to just look to Starbucks and say, well, what they did is they rebranded, they added another product. That's just virtue signaling. That's borrowing little, I don't want to say cliches, but it's borrowing, it's like taking all of the things that, yeah, this looks artisan, that looks craft. It's the symbol of the thing that they want to smack on top of. They want to layer over the top of a particle board and make you think it's a mahogany because it's a veneer. It's a veneer of change. See, we need to be like people who are all about change throughout. We're not like the particle board version, which is this large corporate example. We're the hardwood. We're the real deal. And we have to be the real deal. So don't fall into this idea that somehow we're better, because all of the innovations that have happened in coffee recently have to do with surface solutions that don't apply to the biggest problems that we have, which I've always said are not technological, they're not branding problems, and they're not menu problems. They're deeper than that, it's easier than that, but at the same time, it's harder. The reward at the other end of addressing the real root causes of those things is much better. And so, is this going to revolutionize the way that Starbucks is perceived by the greater public? Doubtful. Very, very doubtful. It will be another example of Lucy pulling the football from Charlie Brown. We don't have to follow suit, though, and we have an opportunity now to kind of audit ourselves and say, let's reflect on ourselves and let's continue to innovate toward people and the experience that a coffee house, a coffee shop can offer, from the roots to the branches, like the whole thing, right? With integrity. And I think this is just kind of what this news should make us think about. And so I wanted to get on here and kind of talk about that for our shift break today. Thank you so much. I would love to hear what you think about this. I've been kind of posting here and there on the internet about this, and I've kind of wanted to put it into one episode for you. But what's your opinion? And are you ready for the tidal wave of questions about cortados coming into your shop? Let's hear it. So thanks very much, and we'll see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break, from keys to the shop.